Good stuff. Little girl in the red, you remember her when she was in middle school? Now she's in high school. I think she's going to be probably 11, yeah. Yeah, she's a big actress.
The Board of Education of the Moreno Valley Unified School District reconvened into open session at 7:12 p.m. Roll call, please.
Samantha Gueron, Vista Del Lago High School graduate and asterisk intern present.
Carrie Baugh, present.
C.J. Johnson, present.
Susan again, present.
Susan Smith, present.
Martin Rex Kedziora, present.
Robert Purdy, present.
Tina Dagnall, present. Maribel Maddox, present.
Mrs. Smith, Trustee Morgan has informed the district that for personal reasons, he will not attend tonight's board meeting or the meeting scheduled for July 17th, 2018.
Thank you. Report out of closed session. We discussed student discipline cases, public employee appointment and public employee discipline dismissal, release, non-reelect, conference with new labor negotiator, conference with legal counsel, and conference with real property negotiator. We're now into open session. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Samantha Giron, formerly of Vista Del Lago High School, now an intern in the superintendent's office with the Asterisk program. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you. Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the inspiration. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who don't matter and those who matter don't mind. And this is by Dr. Seuss. Please be seated.
Thank you. I love when you get your inspiration from Dr. Seuss. Upcoming board meetings. Our next meeting will be July 17th, a closed session at 5 o'clock, open session at 7 o'clock, a regular board meeting. August 7th, closed session at 5, open session at 7, another regular meeting. And September 11th, again, 5 o'clock and 7. September 18th, we will have open session at 5 o'clock, a special study session on student achievement right here in the boardroom. And September 25th, a regular meeting, 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Look forward to seeing all of you there. Great. Also in closed session, we talked about 2 employee hires, and I would like Dr. Verde to go over that with us.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Under the managerial report, HR consent items G3A, we have some updates, and as Ms. Smith said, we are recommending 2 new employees for hire. First, under G3A2, these are managerial assignments for the 18-19 school year. It's an amendment. Ms. Rebecca Beagle will be assigned from Vista Del Lago as the assistant principal to Moreno Valley High School as the assistant principal. And Maria Rivas will be the assistant principal, moving from Moreno Valley High School over to Valley View as the assistant principal. For the new hires, we are recommending Dr. Lynn Sheffield for the Director 3 of Student Services and our Registration Center. And for the Human Resources Director, a position close to my heart, we are recommending the principal from Badger Springs, Mr. Jason Barney, to be the new Director of Human Resources.
All right. I'd like a motion and a vote on these new assignments.
Second.
Thank you. Mr.
Did we get a vote?
Holguin has moved that we approve these 2 new hires, and Mr. Baugh has been quick to second that. Can I call for a vote, please?
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. I noticed you hesitated, Mr. Johnson.
Oh, he got it.
Okay. Mr. Barney would like you to come up and say a few words to us if you would like to. It's our tradition with new hires in administrative positions.
Miss Diener, would you mind? Thank you. Because he's nervous, right?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you very much, Board of Education and Dr. Kedzioris and Cabinet. I am extremely appreciative of this opportunity and grateful to be able to continue to serve in Moreno Valley. It's always been a district of great opportunity for our students, for our staff, and for me especially, and I look forward to continue serving in the district in this new capacity and being able to grow and learn. I've had wonderful mentors in this district, both teachers and administrators, and I'm just excited to continue serving the students and the staff and the community in this position as a director. I'm excited to continue growing and learning, and thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Do you have some of your children with you?
I have my son Tommy. He's my emotional support tonight.
Would you introduce him?
My younger children were having a little bit of a meltdown tonight, so they couldn't make it. So my wife, who is watching live stream, I will say, she's my rock. And so, but with me, I have my son, my 10-year-old son Tommy, with me, and he's here to prop me up tonight, and he's going to follow it in his dad's footsteps someday, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I must say, our big hesitation with promoting you to this position was the big hole that it will leave at Badger Springs Middle School. You have done such a terrific job there over the last 7 years, and we appreciate all of your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to miss it. Proud to be a Badger, but I'm proud to be a HR person now, whatever the mascot is for HR.
Yeah, they don't have
Very
a mascot
proud.
over there. Huh?
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. Next up is the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Patty Diener, would you do me a favor? Would you turn the lights on back there, because it looks like it's not we're not open back there, and yeah, thank you. And all that student artwork is back there, and I want people to see it and to notice it. And it looks like that section's closed, but it's not. So thank you. I want to welcome all of you here tonight, and I want to tell you that you might think that because school got out that people are sleeping or vacationing or they're not doing stuff, but I want you to know when you see this report, you'll know that people are doing things, and a lot of them are here. Some of them are here tonight. I'm going to go to the first one that I see the students here from this tonight. Now, do you recognize yourselves up there? Because you're right there. So one of the things, and there's Mr. Moore and Jeannie Lopez, and isn't that your name, Jeannie Lopez? Janine Lopez?
She's not here. She didn't make it. She's not here.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I was thinking that you were, I apologize. Miss Johnson's here, and Miss Rivas, who's a new Eagle now. National History Day, Valley View, these students right here took second place in the nation. And it's not just with the nation, it's international, because there were other countries competing there. We're very proud of you, and they're going to be recognized this evening, but your families and our community, you demonstrate and represent what we want Moreno Valley to be, which is the very best. And so the Board of Education wants to congratulate you and thank you for that. Corey Moore, did I say your name? Okay, I want to make sure I didn't know if you know I said it, but they're going to be recognized on July 11th at the Riverside County Office of Education at 5 p.m. So if you want to join them there at that recognition, you can. And Miss Johnson, we're very proud of these students from your school. Thank you. Yeah, it's quite something. Is Thiana, she's not here? Okay. Well, I do want to recognize this because she was one of the students that went on National History Day. And one of the things that we find that is so just something that means so much to students, but also to adults, is when they have firsthand experiences when they're out there learning. And so, did you say her name Theana, Miss Johnson? Is it Theana? Okay. One of the things she did was she took a journey across the South, and she was on the news. I don't know if any of you got to see this, but she was on the news in other parts of the country, and she met with important political figures, and she handed out copies of her paper, and she was interviewed by the local TV station. Mr. Moore, were you with her when that happened? It was Aurelio Cortez that was there. Yeah. And because she goes to Vista Heights. No wonder she wasn't at Valley View, okay. But that was quite something, and very proud of her for having that experience. Tina Dagnott up here is the chief business official, and one of the things that she does every Tuesday is she goes to lunch at Brandon's Diner with the Rotary Club. And the Rotary Club is very supportive of the Moreno Valley Unified School District. This is the noon Rotary. There is also a morning Rotary, and I go to both of them at different times. I went to morning Rotary last week. And this day we went on, it was last week, wasn't it? Yeah. They had all of our students there that they gave scholarships to. So when the Rotary is selling those truck tickets for $125 a piece and all those things that they do, please support them because they go right back to our students. And as you can see, all of these students are from our district and received these scholarships, so we're very proud of them. This summer, we offer many learning opportunities for students to continue learning. And one of the things that we have is the Superintendent Summer Learning Academies. This is different than summer school because it's not just taking courses and doing what's been done. This is different. It's STEAM activities, and it's learning in a fun and a creative way. Lisa Broomfield is here. She's the Director of Categorical Programs, Equity, and Social Justice for the district. So she establishes these programs at these 17 sites, but 1,500 students are attending the elementary schools, and 1,200 students are attending the middle schools, and at the high school, 5,000 students are attending. Just at Valley View High School, there are 1,500 students enrolled in summer school. And they're not just there to take classes just to take them. They're trying to improve their GPA, they're trying to improve their A through G course completion, and they're trying to be better scholars. And I was driving by Vista del Lago today, and I just couldn't believe all the children that take advantage of that and the families that do that. We have a short video I'd like for you to watch of the Superintendent Summer Learning Academy so you can see what actually happens there.
The kids are testing some tetrahedron kites that they built. So we constructed tetrahedrons out of straws and string and tissue paper, and the kids did all that construction and then combined 4 tetrahedrons into one kite. And the object is to make the kite A, fly, and B, make it fly the longest, the highest, the longest hang time. And so it's a competition between each team who can get the longest hang time. And so the kids designed their kites and had to figure out the placement of the string. The kite string seems to be making a lot of difference, and then taking turns running it and catching the wind right and waiting for a breeze. And then they have repairs and redesigns and different things that they need to talk about with their team and figure out how to make it fly the best.
We're just building kites using 2 different strings and try to make the kite stay in the air and timing how long it can stay in the air and to see which kite can stay in the air the most. And we're just doing it with measurements of string and artistic things like straw, tissue paper, and things like that.
This is the summer program for Think Together. We offer a place where students can go. Our real goal is to prevent summer learning loss, whereas some students during summer break, they'll go home and either play video games, everything, and a lot of things that they learn, they don't retain over the summer. I know I had that problem. So we have credentialed teachers here, we have staff, and we just try and keep on where they left off on the last day of school with their vocabulary and their math.
I like that we get to learn about each other, and we get to try out new things that we haven't done, and we work together.
So today I had the privilege, and this is another piece of what's happening in Moreno Valley. We have some wonderful programs, and this year we have the largest program we've ever had in the Cyber Patriot program. There's a cyber camp at Moreno Valley College at Cyber Patriot program. Donna Woods and Chris Lorenz put this on, and there's 110 students there participating. And these students, I went into these classrooms, and you wouldn't believe the excitement, you wouldn't believe the engagement, but you wouldn't believe what they're learning and how much they know. When they were telling me what they were doing and the kits they were assembling and how they were organizing materials, I had no idea what they were doing. But I do know this, they came, it's all day long, their parents dropped them off, they picked them up at 3:30, and all 110 kids committed to a week there. So that says something about the children in Moreno Valley and how much they're learning and doing this summer. And it's a collaborative partnership with Moreno Valley College, and every room there is full, and we want to make it bigger next year. But I really want to congratulate Donna Woods from Canyon Springs High School and Chris Lorenz from Valley View High School for having this partnership with Moreno Valley College and offering this to the children in our community, the young people. This summer we have 161 students that are participating in a 5-week program. It's our summer internship program called Asterisk, Accelerating Success Through Employment Responsibility, Inspiration, Skills, and Knowledge. Jessica Garcia is a director in business services, and there she is with 4 students she's working with. There's Patty Diener in one picture working with a student in her office. She's right there, Patty, raise your hand. And then there's another, I don't know which office that's in. It must be in Information Systems, maybe. Christian, is that Christian Hernandez? Okay. Christian Rivera. I want to call him Hernandez Rivera. I apologize. But he's right back there, and he's working with a student. So there's 161 students that are employed in this program. And if you don't have one of them working with you this summer, you are missing out. Because did you have one in transportation back there, the new transportation director? You need to talk to Jessica Garcia, because these kids love to learn about things. She's sitting right by you, that's why I said that. Because you just wouldn't believe what they add to your department. Samantha Jerome, who's up here, works in my office, and I have 2 others. And there's some of the most amazing help. And when people see them and they hear them on the phone, they always say, "Those are students," and they just do above and beyond. It's a wonderful program. It completes on July 19th at 11:30, and it says Vista del Lago High School. But Mrs. Smith, because you wanted that whole theater redone, all the seats have been ripped out, and so you wanted those done.
I did not want seats that were not functional in
Well,
our
they're all
theater.
going to be functioning now because it's brand new. I couldn't believe they took every one of them out, Miss Smith. So it's going to be at Valley View High School. And Miss Johnson, you probably don't know that yet, but it's changing. Okay, all right. I'm loving when I'm saying all this. Everybody's looking at me like, okay. Now, another thing that we do is we send kids to camp every year. This is the Inland Empire Future Leaders Camp. Our kids go to this camp every year in Idlewild Pines. It's the Associated Students of California, and Nick Araha, he is a alumni of Moreno Valley, but graduated from Vista del Lago High School and is also a senator at UC California, Berkeley, helped lead this camp this summer. And we had 19 students from Moreno Valley attend, and this camp encourages students to stay in school, strive for academic excellence, become leaders in the school and community, and earn college degrees. The program, when students are involved in it, has a 99% high school graduation rate and a 90% college attendance rate. So we're very proud of those students who spent that whole week last week learning in that program. Now here's another important thing, the Student Spaceflight Experiments Program. It's the Mission 12 launch at June 29th at 5:41 a.m. And Valley View students are experimenting on board SpaceX CRS-15 and will launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. And isn't that something? These are students at Valley View High School, and they're attending the SEEP National Conference June 28th and 29th at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. And they're going to be making a presentation and watching a special viewing of the launch from the conference. Mr. Holguin and Mr. Johnson are going to join these students at this conference. And this is a national conference at the Smithsonian, and our students are there from Valley View High School. We're very proud of that. Yeah. And then this is another amazing thing about the children that go to school in Moreno Valley. I want you to know that people don't often realize that the perseverance, the dedication, and their attitude. But these two students from Valley View High School petitioned UCR professors to find an internship or job shadow opportunity for the summer on their own. They went out and did this. In evolution, ecology, and organismal biology department, they work in the EEO lab from 9 to 5, and they're going to co-author an official research production. And the project is to find the relationship between bacteria mutations and negative effects on ecosystems. And these two students are Matthew Lampy, that's how you say his name, Ms. Johnson? Yes. Is he here? Yes. Oh, there you are. And is Farsaman Warshia. Farsaman Warshia. What'd you say? Warisha. Okay. And I'm so proud of y'all. I know both of you, and what I really appreciate is that you went out on your own and did this, and you have that kind of dedication, and your families must be. Is that your mom beside you, Matthew? You must be like, y'all must be like, you can't believe that's your child, right? Yeah. And I want you to know that on behalf of the Board of Education in our school district, this is the kind of student that we want to have in our school district, but this is the first time I've seen this since I've been here, where students do something like this on their own and go to UC Riverside and get an internship like this and dedicate yourselves to the summer. We are very proud of you. So, you know, the opportunities are out there, and we help and you help, and working together, we make it happen. Now, this is another big thing that everybody doesn't know about, but there's an all-district marching band performance on June 23rd. It was this past Saturday at Vista del Lago High School. Greg Solomon is the director, or the coordinator of visual and performing arts. But I didn't get to attend this year, but I can tell you someone sent me what is it called? A video from it. And I was sad I wasn't there. Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Maddox represented the district there, but it is simply outstanding. And I hope next year when they have this, all of you will go, because it is really something. These people come from all over the state. They come from Arizona, other states, to see kids perform here. And our district performs with them. So we have a short video of this I'd like for you to see. This has all been happening since they got out of school. Those are our students in the center playing around Pacific. Pacific Crest is around the edge, but Moreno Valley's marching band is in the center of that, playing with a world-class drum and bugle corps. A world-class drum and bugle corps. Isn't that something?
Dr. Katsura, would you like to mention that the drum mayor of Pacific Crest is a former student from Canyon Springs High School?
Well, you can.
The drum major.
Andrew Frescas, former student from Canyon Springs High School, is the drum mayor. So it's about 150 people playing there, but thousands come to try and be part of the band. So he earned the top position there.
Now, I just want you to know, if you've missed any of these activities, you can put these on your calendar. They happen every year. People just don't all know about them. The next thing on here is because I got Mr. Bob's looking at me like, come on, Dr. Kedziora. So Coach Bartledge is trying to work with Mrs. Johnson, who's the principal at Valley View, to keep kids from leaving our district and playing for other people. So what he did this summer was he offered a free football camp for kids from 6 to 8. Actually, I think it was 6 to 8 p.m. Was that right, Miss Johnson? I thought it was longer than that. Yeah, I think it was all day. Yeah, I think it ends at 6, yeah. So it was June 18th and 20th. Now, y'all, I went over there. There was over 150 students that participated. And one of the reasons, he wants to do this is, I don't know if y'all realize, but on June 17th, I think it was, Tina, wasn't it the board meeting where the turf got approved? And on June 18th, I've never seen something happen so quick, but that field is gone that was there, and there's going to be a red turf field over there. And all of these students said to me, I want to play on that field when I get to high school, because no one has a red field like that. And so 150 kids were over there, and it was amazing. And I want to thank Coach Bartledge because he donated his time, but I also want to thank Mrs. Johnson, who supported him in that, and just all the children and the families that came out to participate in that. And then we have a summer lunch program in the summer that is, just excellent. I can't tell you how the nutrition services people, they really are customer service oriented. And Carla Leiter, the director, and the total meals so far through June 26 is 38,381 meals that have been served this summer. So I'd like to show a short video here so that you can see this in action, and just what an exciting program this is.
Today is the kickoff for our summer feeding program in the Moreno Valley Unified School District. We are setting up our grill today and serving nutritious meals for free to all of the community. All children 2 to 18 are welcome to come and eat at the park. We're having hot legs and hot dogs today, but we'll have a different menu every day. We will be set up at 5 different parks in the community. So we are here at Towngate Park today. In addition, we also have the Moreno Valley Library with meals being served out of there as well. So I invite the community to come out between 11 and 12:30 every day of the week, except for 4th of July, to come get a free meal for their kids.
Today we're here to support Moreno Valley Unified School District with their kickoff. We're the produce company for the district, and we want to be able to showcase to the parents what their kids are eating on a daily basis. So I love to bring carrots that are just pulled out of the ground. They've got dirt on them and they're ready to go, and the kids just love it. So they get to see exactly what a carrot looks like when it comes out of the ground. We buy directly from the farm, so everything is fresh. It's directly from the farm. It's not from the LA Market Terminal. This comes directly from the farm, so it's fresh fruit that's ready to go and served to the students on a daily basis.
I think it's great. My kids have been waiting for you guys to have the lunch thing, because we come here every summer for lunch, and so we always come here for lunch. And then I like this fresh fruit you have, and they have their fresh fruits, and it's really neat to have the kids eating healthy.
So the point of this program is to kind of close the gap in between, school being out for summer and vacation time. We do have summer school for a lot of the kids, but we realize that in the community there's a huge need for this service that we provide. School lunches serve a lot of kids. We do have a lot of families that qualify for free and reduced meals, and sometimes that becomes an issue during the summertime when school is out and children may not have access to nutritious foods during that time period. So we started this program to kind of
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah, and look at all these things that have been happening just this summer. We hadn't been out of school that long. Look at all this; it's already going on. Tina Dagnall participated this year. She's our chief business official, and Dr. Verdi is an alumni of this class too. It's a program to learn about Moreno Valley, and they participate. This is the 23rd one, And so she's going to graduate from this program on June 28th, and Mrs. Smith is going to be there to support her and some other people from the district. So would y'all give Tina Dagnott a hand, because she really... And then in student services, Josie Rapoli, who used to be the director of purchasing, donated 71 hygiene kits, 36 for girls and 35 for boys. And these hygiene kits are for children who are in foster homes or group homes who have to move around a lot. And the kits are stocked, and they can take them with them when they move, so that, you know, when they need their stuff together, it's already in something. And we really appreciate that donation. So thank you, Josie, and thank you, Patty Rucker, for organizing that. And then our teachers have been learning this summer. We have professional development, and Dr. Buster, who's the director of professional development and digital learning, has been offering a variety of topics for all grade levels: reading strategies, creating digital binders, integrating Google Suite apps, and math strategies, and more. June 11th through the 15th, over 800 teachers participated. And there's 1,750, I think, teachers in Moreno Valley. And that's a pretty good number of teachers out continuing to learn, and it shows their commitment. We also have a STEAM certificate program partnership with Moreno Valley Unified School District and UC Riverside, and that program was also going on with the teachers. Another program we'd like to encourage, and Lisa Broomfield is working to get a table at this, along with our parent ambassadors, but we want to be part of this, is our Moreno Valley, a community engagement open house, where we learn about the services and all the things that we do in Moreno Valley to make our city a much better place, and we're going to have presence there. Thank you, Lisa Broomfield and the parent ambassadors. I see Ben here. You're probably going to help with it. You don't know that yet, but you are. And then our facilities update. If you hadn't had a chance to go into the new gymnasium at Moreno Valley High School, it's now a completely air-conditioned facility, one of the first high schools in the district to have an air-conditioned gymnasium. It's been completely remodeled from top to bottom. There's a lobby, a foyer that really boasts the pride of the Vikings there. And we just could not be more proud, and the district occupied the gym of May of 2018. I want to thank you, Tina Dagnott, and your team facilities for getting that ready and making it. Sammer's here. Oh, that's right, Sammer. So make sure you go back and tell everybody I mentioned y'all. I didn't even know you were in here, okay? And then Valley View High School, I mean, this is the inferno, but it's an artificial track and field, but it's going to have a new track, a new field, and the construction started the day after it was approved, and the first game on the new field is scheduled for August 2018, and the track is scheduled for completion of October 2018. And this is in continuing with our efforts. When we didn't build high school number 5, we said we wanted to upgrade our 4 existing high schools. And so you'll continue to see things like this at our other high schools happen. Then Valley View High School, there's also a softball field bond funding. Construction started in January of 2018, and the estimated date for completion is September of 2018. And it's quite the facility, and you'll be very proud of that when that happens in that school. We're working on modernization projects, and these are in the design phase for all of these schools, and they're being submitted, and you'll start to see progress and improvement on many of these schools for modernization. Then tonight, it's very sad because we're going to lose someone and gain someone. We're happy about, gaining, but we're also sad about losing. And she's decided to retire. So, Claudia, would you come over here, please, and take something to Ms. Helderstadt to recognize her? Ms. Helderstadt, you've been in the district 27 years, and she is one of the most consummate professionals. Some people call her their contemporary because she's so amazing at how she handles things. One person said, she's my contemporary. And I loved it when they described her like that, because every time I've not worked with her a long time, but every time I've worked with her, she's made the district look better because of her response and her reaction and what she does to make everyone do a much better job at what they do because of her respect and support for people. So we want to congratulate you this evening and thank you. She did have a big retirement party, but you can't do this enough. And so those flowers are on behalf of the Board of Education.
I think we all need to give her a hug.
Well, I think you can get up and do that. Yeah, I'm not.
You can get up and give up.
I think y'all should get up and give a hug.
Congratulations.
I think people need to see us be kind and show concern for each other. It's not that they think we're not like that, but we really do like each other. You know? And it's going to be hard for her to let me go, but she'll do it.
I love it. It's going to be hard for her to let me go.
Out from the back room.
From the back room.
Yeah, we should have her say something.
Yeah, I think so, because she's been quiet for a long time.
Push the button. You got to push the button. There you go.
I don't even take rolls, so I don't know, but it's been a pleasure. And it was very humbling when they did have a very nice reception for me, and Dr. Kezior was very entertaining. He made the whole thing, so. But I will miss each and every one of you, but maybe you'll point me out, Dr. Kezior, when I'm sitting out here sometime, and I go before the end of the meeting, yeah. But thank you so much. Each and every one of you has given me an important personal relationship and lessons in community and service, and I will miss all of you, but thank you.
I got a question. She told me that I was her favorite board member. Did she tell any of the rest of you the same thing?
She just told me that.
I knew it. I knew it.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. She didn't.
I think Diane has the unique quality of making everybody feel that they're special. She's just been so terrific, and she was so welcoming to me when I started on the board. And she's just so absolutely nice to everyone that I don't have words to express it. I'm sorry, but thank you, Diane, for being who you are. Are you done? Okay. We are now. We can wait till we get to them. When we get to F1 and F2, we'll say code. Okay, so we're moving to E4, recognitions, communications, and events with Ms. Maddox. And are we moving down now? Thank you.
Good evening. It is my pleasure and honor tonight to recognize our students and our staff for special recognition. We're going to start, and I think you saw in Dr. Kitsura's reports some of these acknowledgments, but the board really is so proud of all the students and staff that are being recognized that we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to meet them, shake their hands, and we're going to take a picture. So we are going to start with Valley View High School's team that placed silver in the National History Day. So I'm going to ask Mrs. Johnson to come on up, Mr. Corey Moore to please come on up. Just to give you a little bit of background, the National History Day was established in 1974, and it does teach the importance about learning about history. There are over 500,000 students across the country and internationally that participated in this year's National History Day, with about 3,000 advancing to the national level. The Valley View team did place second, silver medal, second to a team from South Korea. So I would like to acknowledge the students. Their performance chronicled the 1941 labor strike by the animators of Walt Disney Studios. And I know we had an opportunity to see that performance in a previous board member. Besides being very entertaining and informational, it really showed all the work that the students and the teachers did with the research and really looking into history and learning from it and how that applied to today's world. So congratulations to these students. So I'm going to go ahead and call you up. I think Mr. Corey Moore. Sure, Mr. Moore.
I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of the kids to thank the board and the district for supporting us in this. I can't tell you how many teachers we talked to back in Washington that asked us how we fundraise to get those kids there. They had to go out and raise their money to get their kids there, and this district supported them in every facet in getting them. And I just wanted to say thank you very much because, you know, I had people say, you know, if it was a football or basketball team, there'd be no question. Well, with all these activities, there's no question you support them, and I wanted to say thank you.
The group performance students, Jade Moreno, Alondra Mendez Acosta, Mark Valdez, Michelle Calderia, Mitchell Calderia, thank you. Ariana Basil. And then once again, the History Day coaches, Mrs. Janine Lopez and Mr. Corey Moore. Congratulations, students. Any staff from Valley View that would like to now come on up and join us in the picture, please come on. Valley View staff. Parents?
And as far as I've been able to determine at the high school level, this is the best anyone from Moreno Valley has ever done. And we want copies.
Miss Rivas is on the way up, Christian. I don't want you to miss it.
It's okay.
We now like to honor Moreno Valley High School Band Most Valuable Color Guard. I'd like to call to Shawana Case to come on up, student at Moreno Valley High School. She won an award for Most Valuable Color Guard. We acknowledge the color guard coach, Mr. Morgan Clark, if he's here, has provided immense support and guidance to this student. And her teacher, if Jessica is here, Jessica Worth, thank you for encouraging her to join the color guard. We're very proud of her, and so we'd like to acknowledge for the most valuable color guard member from Moreno Valley High School.
So come on.
She doesn't want to be in a picture.
Thank you so
Mrs. Johnson, if you can come back up, we'd like to acknowledge the 2 students that are working in the UCR lab. These 2 students have been given their own project about finding the relationship between bacterial mutations and their negative effects on the ecosystem. Co-author of an official research publication from youth at UCR. Congratulations go out to Matthew Lamp and Lumpy and Farsamin Wardisha. Very good, thank you.
Oh, wow.
We now would like to honor Valley View teacher, Ms. Marissa Sarate. Ms. Sarate was among 30 teachers recognized from all over Southern California at the annual Educator Recognition Ceremony at UC Irvine. Her former avid student, Maria Perez, class of 2017, nominated her as she felt she had made an impact in her life while in high school. This was an honor for Ms. Sarate, as this also happened to coincide with her receiving the Certificated Teacher of the Year at Valley View. Congratulations, Marissa.
And who hired you?
I know.
We now would like to honor the Morning Rotary. The Morning Rotary hosted a jazz festival in our district that was outstanding, including students from different areas. So we'd like to acknowledge Mr. Abraham Cifuentes, the president of the Moreno Valley Morning Rotary, and Mr. Jeff Swihart, Moreno Valley Morning Rotary Jazz Festival director, for all the work, for the commitment, for everything they did for the Jazz Festival to occur. This really did inspire the students in the city who possess musical abilities, while also bringing culture into the city, which gives all of our residents an event to look forward to. Thank you so much for all the work. And Dr. Kitsura will probably say a few words.
I just want to, they invited me to Morning Rotary last week to thank me, but we should really thank them because they what they did this past year to provide this to our community was amazing. Mr. Cifuentes, is that your last name? Yeah. He today, when I got to Moreno Valley College, he was working in the Cyber Patriot program. He's one of the instructors in that. And just always giving to our community. And if you haven't been to a morning Rotary, you should go, because what they do and contribute is amazing. Now, Mr. Swigert, y'all, he is a former teacher in Moreno Valley Unified School District. He was a math teacher at Canyon Springs High School and retired, and is still giving back to the community. And I just want you to know this is the kind of thing that people don't realize what people are doing all the time, because they're out volunteering, giving to our community, and always asking for help, but not always getting it from everyone. But they continue to do great things with just whoever comes to help. So thank you so much for what you do. And I was so honored to be, recognized at your morning Rotary meeting. Thank you. I love to be somewhere at 7 a.m. If they meet at, well, I don't know if they meet there every week, but y'all were at Mimi's, right? Or you meet there every week? Optimus meets there at 7. They meet there at 7, so you can rotate groups if you want to. I did. So congratulations.
Thank you again, and congratulations go out to all the students and staff that were recognized this evening. Thank you for being here, and congratulations. We are truly very proud of each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to all of you, students, parents, and staff members who help our students. We really appreciate you. Thank you. Staff responses to public comments made at previous meetings. Do you have any?
No, ma'am.
No staff responses to comments made at previous meetings. So we'll move on to E6, public comments on agenda items. I have some slips here. These are all non-agenda items. So let's move on to public comments on non-agenda items. The Board of Education encourages public comments. During this section, staff may briefly respond to statements or questions, or may ask questions for clarification. The board may refer to staff or other resources for factual information, direct staff to report back at a subsequent meeting, and/or direct staff to place the topic on a future agenda. If someone wants to lodge a complaint against an employee, the appropriate form may be obtained at any school or the community education center. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for a total of 3 minutes on non-agenda items, regardless of the number of issues to be addressed by the individual. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on non-agenda items to 21 minutes. Per Board Bylaw 9323, twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public using a translator. So first up, Jorge Quintero. Mr. Quintero, you are first. Congratulations on your daughter's graduation from high school. And I understand she's going to UCR in the fall. Congratulations twice.
Buenas noches, miembro del board, doctor Fisiora,
board members and Dr.
maestros, padres.
Parents and teachers.
Primeramente quería decirle gracias a la señora Dayan. Ya no la vamos a tener aquí, pero es una eficiente trabajadora, siempre con una sonrisa para todo el mundo, no importa que no le gustaran las cosas, pero siempre fue con una sonrisa, a diferencia de muchos trabajadores aquí en el distrito.
I'd like to thank la señora Dayan. Dayan. She's retiring. She was always very happy and smiling, and she contributed to all this.
Y muy eficiente.
It's very efficient, very efficient.
También que sea las gracias a la señora Maribel Matos, eficiente empleada, eficiente funcionaria, alta funcionaria de aquí de Moreno Valley.
I also want to thank la señora Matos for also very efficient and an employee.
Siempre nos resuelve los problemas.
And she always resolved my problems.
Estamos orgullosos de usted, señora Maribel.
And we're very proud of you, señora Matos.
Hay un punto que quisiera tratar. Sé que el doctor Quisiora nombró al señor Steve Quintero.
There's a point that I want to touch. I know that Dr. Quisiora named el señor Quintero.
Steve Quintero.
Steve Quintero.
Como director de la escuela Marsh Mountain.
As the director of Mountain High School.
Sí.
Okay.
Se equivocó en decidir al doctor Michael Mamuri, al anterior director que había.
He made the wrong decision to name the previous director.
Se vuelve a equivocar de vuelta.
And you make another mistake again.
El señor Steve Quintero.
Steve Quintero.
Asistente principal de la escuela Moreno Valley High School.
Assistant to the high school.
Trata mal a los niños, se burla, los humilla, los intimida.
He makes fun of the kids, he humiliates it, he intimidates them.
A las mamás les grita.
To the mother, he yells to them.
Usted sabe, doctor Quisiora, usted tiene las quejas. No es algo que ignore.
You know that, doctor, you have the complaints.
No sé, el señor necesita como un examen psicológico.
I think he requires a psychological evaluation.
Él no se porta igual con los hombres.
He's not the same. He doesn't treat the men the same. The parents.
Pienso que tiene un problema hacia las mujeres.
I think he has an issue with women.
Muy mala decisión que tomó en nombrarlo.
It's a bad decision.
Se vuelve a equivocar.
And you make you make the mistake again.
La vez pasada dije que el distrito necesita una reestructuración de personal, pero no así.
I said that the district needed a restructure a restructure, but not like this.
Necesitamos gente eficiente, gente profesional.
We need efficient people, professional people.
No como ese señor.
Not like that gentleman.
Como le dije ya anteriormente, el señor Steve Quintero siempre se ha burlado de los padres.
Like I said, Mr. Quintero has always made fun of the parents.
Yo personalmente he sufrido el burlarse de ese señor.
I have experienced his the way he treats parents.
También el señor José Chávez ha tenido ese problema.
As well as el señor Chávez, he has always experienced the same
No sé en qué se basa para darle ese puesto.
I don't know what merits he gained to be in that position.
Acordémonos que los alumnos de esa escuela son muy vulnerables.
Let's remember that the students are vulnerable.
Y no se merecen tener un director así.
And they don't deserve a principal like that.
Tenemos que mejorar el distrito, pero no así.
We have to improve the district, but not like that.
Espero que considere su nominación.
I hope you reconsider your nomination.
Queremos que la escuela esté en mejor funcionamiento, mejor. Yo le podría decir que él es encubridor.
I would want things to get better. I would say that it's covers it up.
De abuso sexual.
Of sexual abuse.
Pero es su decisión.
But it's your decision.
Y no me parece correcta.
And I don't think it's correct.
Hay cosas buenas que se hacen aquí, pero no todo es bueno.
There's a lot of good things that happen here, but not everything's good.
Tenemos que meditar.
We have to meditate.
Y tomar las mejores decisiones.
And make the best decisions.
No sé si él sea muy poderoso o usted tenga una buena, no sé con quién o un miembro del board, pero
I don't know how powerful he is, or maybe he has a relationship with one of the board members.
Si ni siquiera es eficiente como un asistente principal, menos va a ser eficiente como un director.
He's not an efficient assistant principal. He will not be a good principal or director.
Gracias, y también quisiera felicitar a Claudia por su nueva posición.
Thank you, and I also want to congratulate
También sé que es una
Claudia.
eficiente trabajadora.
I know, I realize that she's an efficient
Siempre con una
worker.
sonrisa y siempre queriendo solucionar los problemas.
She's very
Gracias.
pleasant and always trying to help. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jose Chavez. Mr. Chavez, do you require a translator as well? No, I do not. All right, thank you. Could I have somebody check the mic there quickly? Start that back at 3 minutes, please.
Okay, it's nothing personal with you, Kaxiora, but looks like you not even know how to run the school board at the Moreno Valley. Why? Because the people, your principals, and different schools, they do what they want to. And let me tell you, you are in violation of the constitutional rights. Our buildings, school buildings, are for teaching a school. It's not for be a prayer groups up there. And don't say you not even know it. You know what's going on. They cover that with one finger the sun to say very welcome to breakfast. But the mission for them is to pray in that particular school from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. It's a violation of the constitutional rights. It's a taxpayer money. It's not even you building. It's a taxpayer money from Moreno Valley. Why you do that? And don't say you not even know it. And this particular school location was in a Footland Flame Church. They have a sign, I have a pictures, I have every single evidence I need. That one is location at the town gate. That one is being. Give us a lunch to the child. Hey, do not spend our tax money from feeding all the people right there. Come on, give me a break. We're not stolen the money from no one else. That particular money we count for our pockets. Why you guys spend the money to feeding people right there and borrow the building for the church? If they want a church, they gotta buy their own building and build it up the church. Not in a school. And a school property does not belong from a political matters too. I want to be clear with you. And keep in mind what they told you in Altura Credit Union. Whatever complaint is going through is right over your shoulders. So it looks like you don't have a brain body. Because I still told you many, many times, and you don't listen. Why you let it go, all of those kind of issues? My daughter right now is in a summer school. It's in a summer school. And you guys, what kind of teacher do you guys have when they are only 6 weeks for summer school? And then right in the second day, at the second week, they call him sick. And the assistant from that particular teacher is a dirt. She don't know how to teach the child.
All right, excuse me.
What kind of teacher
your
you
time
have?
is up.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up, we have Alicia Espinosa. Ms. Espinosa, are you here? No, so we're going to move on. Thank you. Next up is F1 and F2. We have pulled both of those items from the agenda. They relate to solar power in the district, and I guess the presentation is not quite all together yet, so we will put that off to maybe next time, Mrs. Dagnall? Yes, next time we will hear the presentation on solar power. We hope to have it ready, so if you are hanging on the edge of your seats for that solar power, you will have to wait at least one more board meeting. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Page 15.
Madam President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I had a question about it first.
Okay.
All right. Dr. Verde, on page 38, Mr. Barney is listed, who we already have approved. Can we just reapprove him as part of the consent agenda, or should we pull his name from the consent agenda?
He was already approved at the start of the meeting,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith, and then I did read in updates on 3 other names at the start of the meeting, so I would ask that the consent agenda be approved with those changes, please.
All right, so can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda with those changes?
So I'll modify my motion to approve the consent agenda with the modifications as presented by Dr. Verdi.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Moved by Mr. Holguin, seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for the vote.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Moving to page 45. H1, this is really a closed session item, student discipline cases, but we vote on them in open session, so I need a motion for student discipline cases.
So moved.
We had some expulsions and also some returns to our school districts, so we're happy to see that happening. Motion by Mr. Baugh,
I'll second. Okay.
seconded by Mr. Johnson. Call for the vote.
Mr.
Aye.
Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Moving to page 49, superintendent discussion action items, membership in educational organizations. Dr. Keziora.
This is an annual thing that we do, is we put in memberships, but this falls out of the annual update, and this particular one is for Northridge Elementary School for Magnet Schools of America, and it's to distinguish them as a national certified magnet school. And we have to, in order to receive that, have that distinguished category, we have to have a membership in that organization.
What is the cost?
It's $400.
Any other questions or discussion on this item? Do we have other schools that are in some organizations, or?
Well, no, because they're not magnet schools, but Northridge is the only magnet school we have in the district. But we have, California League of Schools, which middle schools are in the National Forum to accelerate middle grades, and then high schools have AVID programs that are AVID of distinction. And, considering this is a school that brings national attention and receives many awards, it's another opportunity to distinguish the school for the services and support that's being provided there by the school district.
All right, do I have a motion to
So moved.
approve?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Baugh, seconded by Mr. Holguin. Call for the vote.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. And I see on page 50, there is a list of all the membership, educational organization memberships that the district does belong to. So there's a rather lengthy list there. All right. Moving to the local control accountability plan, page 52, item I2, Ms. Maddox.
The district is submitting the 2018-2019 Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP, for approval. The plan describes the school district's key goals for students, as well as the specific actions with expenditure the district will take to achieve the goals, and the means, the metrics used to measure progress. As a reminder, as required, a public hearing was held on the LCAP on June 12, 2018.
All right, any questions from board members on the LCAP? Discussion?
We had a very good meeting about it. Gave us all the detail a couple of weeks ago.
Right. So do I have a motion to approve the LCAP plan as presented?
I move we approve the LCAP as presented.
I'll second it.
Moved by Mr. Holguin, seconded by Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Let's call for the vote.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Now we are on to I3, page 54, budget presentation by Mrs. Dagnall.
Thank you.
Okay, so tonight we want to go through the adopted budget that we're presenting to you for approval tonight. And I do have Jessica Garcia and Jennifer Miller here, our two directors, Director of Budget and Finance and Director of Business Services. In case I get tripped up on anything, they're my right-hand man tonight. Does everybody have a presentation? Okay. Okay, so the 2018-19 budget adoption consists of many things. We're going to go through the state budget, looking at the governor's May revision, the local control funding formula, the standardized account code structure, those are the SACS forms that you receive, including the fund forms, the supplemental forms, and the criterion standards. We'll look at the multi-year financial projections and then do a brief overview of the local control accountability plan. So when you look at the May revise on the national economy, the economy continues to grow and expand. The positives are the unemployment rate being very low. We have more people employed, more Americans working than ever. The first quarter of 2018 gross domestic product increased 2.3%, following a 2.9% increase in the last quarter of 2017. And although we see an inflation is rising, it's still historically low. Some of the risks to the May revision in terms of the national economy is really just uncertainty. We've got tax cuts and federal budget that we think will increase the federal deficit. We have import tariffs and Middle East uncertainty. So although things are looking good all around, there are still uncertainties. When we look specifically at California, the positives are we're still the 5th largest economy, surpassing Great Britain. Every sector in our economy has grown except agriculture, contributing to the state's growth. And in 2011, Governor Brown faced a $27 billion deficit. Now the state has a $6 billion surplus. So huge gains for Governor Brown as he's exiting his position. And then again, the risks really are the federal tax reforms. So we look at the California big 3 taxes: personal income, sales, corporation tax revenue. You can see from the January budget to the May revise, we've increased in projections. So just for 2018-19, from the January to May, it's increased and projected to increased by $2.9 billion. So just good signs all around. When you look at the personal income forecast, again, from the January budget, the May revise is projected to increase in all 3 years. When you look at unemployment, you can see that gap between the California unemployment rate and the U.S. Rate closing, with the U.S. at 4.10, California just slightly above that at 4.3. In March, 103 jobs were added to the U.S., while California did lose some jobs slightly, but over the 1-year change from March, we've increased 321,000 California jobs. So all over, the indicators are showing great things for our economy, but I will say through the May revision and Governor Brown's statements, it really is uncertainty, and to prepare because the recessions are cyclical, that we expect to see a downturn in the coming years. So when we look at our revenues versus expenditure trends, again, although the economy has been great, we've seen great increases in our revenue. When you look at our increased revenue compared to our increased expenditures, come 2017-18, our expenditure growth has outpaced our revenue growth for all of these years. And so really this comes down to the retirement costs, right? With STRS and PERS, that really is one of the main reasons for the rising expenditure costs. And what this shows you is that your purchasing power, although revenue has been great, but your purchasing power just isn't the same as it was in a situation where your revenue is outpacing your expenditures. Prop 98, just as a little bit of history of our Prop 98 funding from January to May revise for 18-19. You can see it only increased very slightly. However, we do have great news in terms of the education budget. So when you look at the state general fund budget summary, you can see that the governor's intentions, what the governor wanted to put into place has really happened. You can see in 17-18 that bottom line number, his stabilization account, 9 billion, 900 billion, and then the available reserves, both increasing in each year. So you can see when he's leaving office, he's leaving us exactly where he wanted us to. We've got those reserves, we got the stabilization account, and as we can see, actually fully funding the local control funding formula. So we have the LCFF fully funded. Great news, it's 2 years earlier than planned. The May revise projected 2.71% COLA plus an additional, this is the statutory COLA, but then they're adding a 0.29% augmentation to the LCFF, making it a 3% increase. However, just within the last few weeks, the budget was approved. It's waiting for Governor Brown's signature, and they are increasing the augmentation to about 1% or 3.7% total increase. It's still 2.71 statutory COLA, but the augmentation is about 0.99% or a 3.7% total. So when you look at Moreno Valley specifically, you see what we ended 17-18 with for local control funding formula dollars of $322 million. And with the 2.71 COLA and the 2.9 augmentation, that increases our base by $13 million and our supplemental and concentration to just a little over $4 million, giving us a total projected revenue in LCFF funding of $340 million. And how that breaks down for the grants, if you recall, we get our base grant, we get our grade span adjustments, then you get 20% additional for supplemental, and then 50% for concentration for unduplicated pupil counts above 55%. So that means that for each TK through third student, we receive $10,716, grades 4 through 6, $9,800, and et cetera, down to 9 through 12 of $12,000. So one of the things we've talked about quite a bit in previous presentations is our enrollment history. You can see from 13-14 to 17-18, we have declined significantly. This last year, we declined a little bit less, and we really are projecting our budget is based on flat enrollment. So although we've seen significant declines, we're really seeing a positive trend in terms of building permits, construction all throughout the city, and we're really thinking and hoping, based on the projections, we should be fine at projecting flat, and we really are thinking that we're going to increase our enrollment come our first interim. But this is being conservative in terms of where we think the projections are going to land, but didn't want to be unrealistic in terms of either over projecting. So we're just leaving it at flat enrollment projection. So some of the other major assumptions, because as you know, the budget is built on assumptions. So we have our 3% COLA for this year, 2.57 for the following, and 2.67 for the following year. Our unduplicated pupil rolling average is 8.358 this year, or for 18-19, and then the next 2 years, 83.56%. Our enrollment, as I mentioned, we're projecting flat enrollment of 32,934, which gives us our ADA of 31,146, or our ADA percentage of 94.57. This is something that we really want to work with our sites on in raising that ADA percentage. It's I wouldn't say an easy way to increase funds, but it's definitely a way, it's something that we have kind of control over in terms of really promoting attendance and working with the sites on making sure the kids come to school. Our step and column, we average about 1.5%, and so you can see the dollar figures there. Our one-time mandate monies, we budgeted for $344 per student, but as the budget came in from, ready for signature on the governor's desk, it actually is down to $168 per student because they put the additional augmentation on as ongoing money. So actually better for us that they put it on as ongoing opposed to a one-time. You can see the increases or the total STRS and PERS contributions and the impact that that has on our budget. And then what we have budgeted in our adopted budget with you tonight is a salary increase of all units for 2.5% effective 1/1/19. An off-schedule one-time for all employees of 1.5%. And those are based on the tentative agreement that was reached with CSEA. They have not yet ratified it, and this is not a tentative agreement with MVEA, but we wanted to include some form of the salary schedule in the budget. And given that we did reach a tentative agreement with CSEA, we thought that was a reasonable expectation to put in the budget. In addition, we have the 1% new 4-tier health and welfare cap included in the budget. We do have a tentative agreement with both units on that health and welfare increase, but it has not yet been ratified and not yet been board approved. So when we look at our total general fund budget, you can see our current what we're projecting for our adopted budget along with our multi-year projections for 1920 and 2021. We are projecting to deficit spend about $5 million in next year's budget and about $17 million each year in the following 2 years. You can see the components of ending fund balance, keeping our revolving cash at $50,000. We have the restricted fund balance of a little over $7 million. Our 2% reserve for economic uncertainties for each year from $8.6 to $9 million. And then we have our assigned balances. We have our assignment for one-time expenditures or facilities of $34 million. One of the things we put in there is a declining enrollment contingency, so $5 million in case our enrollment does not come as projected. We have the funds sitting in the ending fund balance. We have a vacation liability, our technology lease reserve, textbook reserve, and then we are putting in there a reserve for deficit spending because we would like to address the deficit, and until we do, we have that amount reserved in the ending fund balance. This is just a summary of the other funds that are included in your budget packet. It just gives you your beginning balance, your estimated revenues, estimated expenditures, and your ending fund balance. And then what I wanted to do, although last board meeting, we had our hearing for the local control accountability plan, I wanted in our budget presentation to just remind you of the expenditures and the final numbers that are included in the LCAP, which tie to our actual budget of supplemental and concentration funds. So with goal 1, all students are proficient in literacy, numeracy, critical thinking, and technology skills. We have $50,256,000 budgeted, and those are all of the items that are in the budget for that goal. Goal 2, all students graduate high school prepared to successfully enter into higher education and or pursue a viable career path. That is a $14,852,000 goal, including VAPA, Alternative Ed, AVID, IB. Goal 3, learning environments support all students to thrive academically at the rigor of each grade level. Budgeted $12 million. We have several things: athletics, social worker, homeless, attendance specialist. And then our goal 4, parents, community members, and labor groups in partnership with staff support student academic goals and career aspirations, and that's a budget of about $2.7 million. So with that, I will say that in collaboration with Lisa Broomfield's office and Jessica Garcia, Jennifer Miller, we got all of our ducks in a row, all aligned. We know what's in the budget. We know what's in the LCAP. It was a great process to really delve in and define each program that we do to support our students and to clearly identify those amounts for the county, for us, for everybody, for all of our stakeholders. So next steps, we have to submit the LCAP and budget for RCOE approval by June 30th. We will do it as soon as it's approved here. June 30th is the deadline for the governor to sign the Budget Act. And then August 15th, we will do 45-day budget revisions. As I said, we have the increase in the COLA. We have the one-time funds that we have to reduce, a couple items that we'll bring as a budget adjustment by August 15th. And then by September 15th, we'll submit the unaudited actuals to RCOE. And with that, I would love to take any questions or comments.
I got a question. I read in the paper, saw in the news, one of the two, about extra money that should be going to really disadvantaged students in LA. And what is the situation for us here in Moreno Valley? Are we going to be getting extra money for like foster kids or other things like that?
That is part of the Budget Act, and we would qualify for additional funds for specific students, yes. I don't have all of the details yet because it was something just in the, has not been approved yet. It's waiting for approval, and we have not seen all the details, although we put something in the Friday memo on that.
Okay, I got two other questions. We had on page 12 is how much money goes to each student. Do charter schools get the same amount of money to the same number of kids as we have? In other words, if we give kids in TK to 3 $10,000 for each child, does a charter school get the same amount of money?
They get the same base amount, but it would change based on their own individual grade span, supplemental, and concentration.
So the base grant of $7,400 they would get.
Mm-hmm.
And is that not really how they're being able to draw students? Because they don't have to raise that money, it's just there.
Right.
Okay. And then the other question, again about charter schools on page 17. What is the charter school fund, $64,000?
That's our charter school.
Our charter
So
school.
it's our charter school.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'm happy now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I have one. On page 9, I was looking at the taxes. You think ours may be reduced at all, or is it just going to stay flat the way it is?
I'm sorry, which slide?
On page 9, will it have a positive effect on the taxes or relief? Will they be reduced, you think, or they're just going to stay the way they are?
If we were to do a new bond issue, is that what the tax would stay the same? It would not have a negative impact on the taxpayers. We would not exceed our legal obligation of $60 per $100,000 worth of assessed valuation.
Okay. Then the last one I have is on 13. There are several new homes being built. We're not going to reap any benefits from that, you know, as far as enrollment is concerned?
We absolutely hope we will, but when you see the negative decline that we've had over the several years, it's
Yeah.
hard to project a trend when we haven't seen it. So we're trying to be conservative. However, all of our projections, when you take into account all building permits, we definitely should see an increase in our enrollment.
So it'll just probably just bring us back to where we were maybe a year or two ago.
Sure. Yeah, it's several homes over the next 10 years.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess that's a pretty good forecast rather than say, you know, we expect to get something. Let's just wait and see.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and that's where we kept it flat, because you could say that that's not being conservative because we didn't project a decrease, but really all of the facts show that we should be increasing in enrollment. So to keep it flat, the state does have a safety net that you get funded on the higher, either that year or the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
So, it just gives us that safety net and yet still being conservative.
Good. Because I know there's some new homes where I live. I mean, there are a lot of them out there.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering about that. I thought maybe we were going to get a kiss, but we'll just have to wait and see. Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Holguin, did you have any questions?
Yes,
comments?
I do have questions. On page 14, where you talk about ADA and the ADA percentage compared to enrollment, 94.57%. And you said it, I just want to stress the importance of that number to increase, and so that we need to understand that it's not just because of the dollars, but it is because we want the children in the classroom.
They have to be there to learn.
They have to learn. So it is important to increase the number or that percentage, and I believe the district has done an excellent job in motivating that attendance. And so I want to say, Dr. Katsura, that's something that I have seen increasing tremendously year after year. So I applaud that effort. And so we still have room to grow there. But again, I just want to stress the importance of comparing the dollars, comparing to the importance of the students being in the classroom. And then in page 16, you list vacation liability, and the number is the same every year. I would think that there will be a fluctuation there from year to year. Vacation liability?
Yeah, there is, but it's hard to project what that is because each year we're going to have people that use their vacation and there is not as much liability, and yet salaries go up, so then it increases the liability. So it tends to stay relatively flat each year.
I was thinking about an increase year after year, more than being flat.
But we do try to encourage, to get those liabilities off the books for employees to take their vacation.
Do we have a requirement that employees take vacation and can only accrue so much?
So at the end of the year, as we get closer to the end of the school year, we are sending out notifications to the sites and departments to notify them, to notify the staff of what their vacation balances are, so that if they were not aware, we're letting them know so that they can plan appropriately to utilize their vacation.
And can they accrue unlimited vacation if they decide not to take a vacation for 5 years? Can they continue to accrue?
It's a year plus 5 days is what they get.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I want to point presentation of pages 19, 21, and 22. I truly appreciate these 4 pages because that gives us a clear picture of the relationship between the budget and the LCAP, and also the relationship with each of the 4 goals. So this lists the items that under each goal, the dollar amount. I'm assuming, and for public information, I guess, that if somebody wants to ask about a specific program, we would be able to give them that
Sure.
information for that particular program. And then how it aligns with the LCAP, which is exactly what the requirement is to do tonight, to adopt this budget, adopt the LCAP, and it's all in line, right? So I think these four slides are really critical, really important, and I think this is the most important piece of the entire presentation. So I want to say thank you for that. It's really well presented. And then a couple other points that I want to make in more general. You mentioned it earlier. Governor Brown is leaving office, but he's leaving the office exactly where he's trying to leave office exactly where he wanted to leave the office, with a 10% reserve. And he's putting that dollar amount at the end so that the 10% is there. So that's a great thing.
Fantastic.
At the same time, we're going to have a new governor, new superintendent, new legislators. So who knows where that's going to go. So that is something that we need to be careful as we start a new year, or especially after the election time. So we may think that we have the $10 billion or 10% reserve there, but it may go in a second, or it may stay there depending on what the new governor is thinking. The other piece that we heard today is related to the facilities bond, that Governor Brown has been reluctant to release the money because he was opposed to the bond in the first place. Even after the voters approved the bond, he still was able to hold the money. And we heard that depending on who wins the election, we may see a almost immediate release of those funds. But the thing that I heard today, and you may correct me if I say this wrong, is that most probably that release of funds would be for those projects that are ready to go. So, or the application is already there, and the application is not there in the applications in hand already cover the amount of dollars, then your next application may be declined already from the beginning. So I just want to make sure that if we're expecting something, or we're hoping for dollars from the state, that the applications are in, or we're getting ready.
Yeah,
for whatever case.
We're definitely getting ready to get those applications in as quickly as we can.
Yes.
And definitely, that changing the rules as we go along does not bode well for us. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the next governor. And we've got our eyes on that for sure.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're prepared for that case, for whatever the case is, so that we don't lose that opportunity. And we get as much as we can, because we've been talking about the facilities and some of the planning. It's based upon the money we get from the state. Right. So, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the deadline that they did say already for the February 2018 for existing applications. So
Yeah, right.
they had already shared a deadline already at the meeting this morning. It was February 2018 if you had already submitted, but that they would be potentially looking at continuing to accept more applications.
Right.
We had the plans for a high school 5. We bought property, we had design and so forth and so on. Were we in line for that?
Not with high school 5, no, because we're not eligible because of the declining enrollment.
Okay.
Right, and that's exactly the point, that if we're not in line for those applications, and if the governor changes the rule overnight, then we have to be there. Yeah. So again, thank you for this presentation. I think it was great, well organized, and it presents exactly what the requirement is for us and for the public. So thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, I had a question on page 16. I don't understand the red line. So does this mean that we are spending $5,626,000? Is that in deficit, or is that more than we spent the year before?
Deficit for that year.
Okay, so we're going to deficit $5 million, but we're going to put $17 million into the reserve for deficit spending.
Right.
Why don't we just take $5 million out of that 17 and not deficit spend? I don't understand why we have to be in a deficit.
Well, the monies on the bottom are in our ending fund balance. I can't make them revenue. They're just sitting in our ending fund balance. So I'm going to deplete my ending fund balance by my deficit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like we're borrowing that money
No.
or something, it's
No.
still, okay. All right,
And
so,
I'm reserving that 17 million for the next year because during that time, we want to find a way to get our budget back in structural balance.
okay,
so
so
it's a
why does
safeguard.
it go to such a huge amount from 5 million to 17 million over the period of 1 year?
Just increased expenditures, step and column, stirs and purrs, you know, a limited number of revenue coming in, flat enrollment being projected, lots of variables.
Okay. All right, any more questions?
I have one more.
Okay.
I noticed on page 19, the Chromebook lease.
Mhm.
My question is, how many Chromebooks did we lose? We gave out 25,000 of them, and we figured we would lose some. Do we know what that number is?
We're still collecting that data now, so I should have that within a month because we're collecting them now.
Okay.
I mean, we've collected them, now we're sorting through them.
Can we anticipate it was a small number? Or
It
was
actually, from our preliminary data, it was an actual relatively small amount compared to other districts.
Okay.
So, but we will get you that data.
Yeah, we'd want to know that.
Yes.
Did people move with those books in their positions, or you just lost
Sometimes.
them?
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
They just didn't get turned back in for whatever reason. Okay.
I want to add, though, that when we had the same issue with textbooks and library books, so this is not a different issue. It's a different, device.
Device, yeah.
And when you look at the expenditures on textbooks and library books and things that people move with, it's very comparable to what's being spent on Chromebooks. So it's just a different issue.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, any further discussion or questions?
I would like to add
Yes,
one thing.
Dr. Kadziora.
I appreciated what Mr. Holguin said, but I want the board to know, I want to compliment business services and educational services. Lisa Broomfield is sitting back there. I don't know why she had to come up here and sat in the front with the other people up here. Are you shy tonight, Lisa?
She's looking around.
She's looking around like she doesn't know who she's talking to. But
Here she comes, right up to the front.
But I want to say I've been here 8 years, I think, and I have dealt with the LCAP in my prior position and this position, and I want the board to know that this has been one of the most harmonious, well orchestrated, designed LCAPs and support from each other, and even when there were critical moments where there was disagreement, they remain professional, and as you can see, they're still friends, and and they like each other, and I think that's important for you to know in LCAP development, because it is a process that is followed closely. The stakeholder input is one piece, but the development of it, of a 240 pages, 240 page document is not completed without a lot of collaboration and support. And I want to compliment Tina Dagnall and her business services division, and Maribel Maddox with her educational services division, because I believe that this was one of the best years I've ever seen with the development of it, and people still talking and hugging each other. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Or can we have a
I'd like
motion?
to move that we approve the budget as presented.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded that we approve the budget. Call for the vote.
Mr. Bach.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Moving to page 56, resolution, the authorization to establish a special reserve fund for capital outlay projects. Again, Ms. Dagnall, I think we discussed this before, and this is the night to vote and set this up. So could you explain this to us?
Yeah, so this is an opportunity to approve a resolution to establish Fund 40. It's a fund that we don't have currently in our district. And basically what this is a special reserve for capital outlay projects funds. So in the case of receiving one-time mandate money that the board wants to put towards facilities, we have some leftover ERP funds that are sitting in the general fund, but they really are facility-related expenditures. And we get funds like this occasionally, rebates, things like that we want to put specifically to facilities. And so having a Fund 40 will allow us to separate that from the general fund and use it only for these facilities capital fund projects. So it makes it cleaner. It takes it out of the general fund to where, you know, it looks like it's available, or it looks like we're spending more because we're spending with facility one-time projects out of the general fund.
All right, any questions or discussion on this?
Smart.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a great move. It's a great way to assist in the continuous remodeling and building of facilities, which is so needed in some of our schools.
All right, then could I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Boss, seconded by Mr. Holguin. Call for the vote.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Moving to the education protection account for the fiscal year 2018-2019. Tina, could you give us a...
Yeah, this is an annual requirement that came out of the approval of Prop 30. The EPA funds are not new funds for the district. They are just LCFF funds that the district was and has received and will continue to receive. It's just, honestly, it's just an additional reporting requirement that came with Prop 30. So basically on page 61, you see the report that shows how much we get in the EPA dollars, and then the expenditures that we spend the equal amount of expenditures, and it's just a report we have to do basically out of the Proposition 30.
All right, any questions?
No. I move we approve the EPA funds item as presented.
Okay, it has been moved. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2017-1892 as presented. Call for the vote.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Moving to page 62, the education protection account for fiscal 2018-2019, the charter school. Mrs. Dagnall again.
This is the same thing, however, it is for the charter school. Page 65 shows the report of $67,000 being received for the EPA dollars and showing the $67,000 in expenditures.
All right, any questions?
I move we adopt resolution 2017-1893 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 2017-1893. Call for the vote.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. And we also have, again, we have Dr. Verde on the agenda. I think we have done this before with the reduction or elimination of certain classified bargaining unit positions.
That's correct, Mr. Smith. Just bringing forward some positions that are vacant positions that we're eliminating due to no need for these positions at this time. So I've worked this out with CSEA and Ms. Neal, and we are ready to bring this forward tonight.
Hey, if they like it, I like it.
I move we approve.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Boss, seconded by Mr. Johnson. Call for the vote.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Okay, we have an acknowledgement. This is not anything to vote on, but it is the quarterly report on the Williams uniform complaints. Ms. Maddox, could you tell us what's happening here?
No complaints were filed with any school in the district during the quarter indicated above.
Okay. And again, nothing to vote on. Do we have any questions about that? No. No, then let's move to page 70, comments from board members.
My comment would be, Tina, it was an absolutely excellent presentation on the budget. Thank you very much. It was very clear and understanding. Also on the LCFF funds. I love the fact that we tie dollars to the goals, so that if somebody said, you know, what are you spending for X, Y, or Z, we could tell them what it was, and therefore that it complies with the state law and it complies with being prudent in the use of funds. It's just not willy-nilly that we'll spend it whatever. If we decide to want to have a gym built in our parking lot, I can just go do that. No, everything is tied. I love the fact that we pay attention to numbers. And if improvements are to be had, somebody has to be minding the store. Whether it's a teacher in the classroom or whether it's a staff person, that we need to be careful that we pay attention to seeing the outcomes. If we don't have good outcomes, then we're doing something wrong. And if you're not paying attention to the details, you'll make mistakes. It's humanly impossible to be perfect all the time. So anyway, I just want to commend Dr. Kedziora and the staff for doing such a great job to line up how we spend money and on what, and does it make a difference? And if it doesn't make a difference, then we need to change something, whether it's reassigning a teacher or whatever we might have to do. We need to pay attention to the outcomes that we are expecting. So that's my only comment. Well, one more. Going to miss Diane. She makes you feel so special, and she keeps track of us as board members. We have so much on our plate, and she reminds us of things. And so, Claudia, you've got a big job in front of you, and we're sure you'll do just fine. But I just want to personally say, well done, thou good and faithful servant.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, I guess I'm up. I want to start off by saying, you mentioned Dr. Kedziora. I want to mention him as well. I had a chance to talk with him over the weekend, and even prior to that. But I think when folks see him up here, and you may even see him around the city, you really don't know the magnitude of concern and work that he does. So I'd like to join my colleagues in thanking you, Dr. Kedziora, for everything that you do and for always being here. The other day, he and I were on the phone, and he was supposed to be taking off. And I even tried to encourage him to leave, but he said he felt that he just had to stay because there was something pressing that much where he thought he needed to be here. I admired that, but I also told him as well that but he still needs to make it about himself and take care of himself. So because of that, I want to make sure I let him know that the work that you do does not go unnoticed. We appreciate you very much. I want to try to see where I want to start with this. Okay, I think I'll start with this. So last,
go to the end.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go. This one is last. This to make everybody laugh. But Mrs. Maddox, she and I had an opportunity. I'll tell you what, she and I had an opportunity last Saturday. Shame, shame, shame on you all if you didn't go to Vista del Lago High School. First of all, when I got there, the stadium was so packed, I thought I was in L.A. someplace. And I made a mistake. I don't mind even telling people. I made a mistake, and I said, I just can't believe, I got up and spoke. And Jesus, I'm sorry, I went over the 2 minutes, but you weren't there. But I told the people that were there, I said, I just can't believe this. I've never seen a stadium like that. She and I stood up, not because we wanted to, but we stood up the whole time that we were there. So I told the people, I said, this is the way I want to see it when football season comes. And then when I was done, someone told me, hey, those folks are not from here. They're from around. Well, I didn't know, but I will tell you, it was beautiful. That stadium was packed. But the reason it was packed because of Pacific Crest Drum and Bugle Corps. You guys have heard about them, in previous years. They've always been at Valley View. This year they're going to be at Vista del Lago. And there was an added attraction. Number one, they charge folks to come, to enter. But I can understand why, because they had several bands from around the area, and all of those kids that performed were simply outstanding. And I needn't say much about Pacific Crest. When they got on the field, it's like you've never seen anything like them if you've not seen them perform. So I would encourage anybody to go to Vista del Lago in the afternoon while they're here practicing and just observe them, listen, because they are very, very good, and they're very humble too. So we enjoyed ourselves, didn't we, Mrs. Maddox? We certainly did. Several bands, I already talked about that. And also in the theater earlier in the afternoon, we had a lot of young girls, starting from the little small tots. They were like dancers or cheerleaders. I'm not sure, what they were, but I know one thing, they were on the stage and they were very cute. I liked the opening act though. There was about 6 girls and they were going through their routine. They were going through their routines. I guess one of them thought, where's my mommy? So she walks off the stage. She goes behind the curtain where her mommy was. And then there was a second girl that says, well, wait a second, I'm done. She also left. The other girls stayed and they performed. But the whole thing about it, though, that auditorium was packed with parents and friends and people throughout the community there to see those young girls perform. And as you look at them, you say to yourself, those are the same girls that we're going to see on TV one day, dancing for the Lakers or the Clippers. So you can tell the families were very, very happy that their daughters were out there, looking good. So it started off with them, and then we went outside to the stadium where the bands performed. Okay, now, with that being said, last night around, I'm not going to tell you what time it was, but it was late, very late. So I figured if I go to Walmart, I can just get in and get out because there won't be anybody there, which I was right because there was only 2 registers open. It took me over an hour. I had a list of things that I wanted to purchase because I've got this survival kit that I wanted to read tonight. And so I finally found everything I needed, getting this very, very, very long line. Get all the way to the register. I was the next guy. The power went down. So they told us, well, you can wait, and it should be up in just a few minutes. So I waited and waited because I said, I've got to buy this. I can't, leave. So I waited, and it was almost an hour waiting. And then finally they came out and told us, listen, we're still having problems. So those of you that want to stay, you can. If you want to leave, you can leave because we don't know when we're going to have our computers up again. So I left everything. It took a long time for me to collect everything I needed. So what I did was I have a makeshift. So when I get to it, I'll perform. So this is Diane Retirement Survival Kit. It was supposed to be in a kit. I'm supposed to have a keychain for being a key to learning. I'm supposed to have marbles to reduce the ones you've already lost. I had a little small pillow because you've earned your rest. And then I had some clay for helping to mold many board members, not me, but many board members.
He's beyond me.
And then, could you just throw this over there? Then I have some, there you go. Come on, pick it up and throw it up. Then you're supposed to go over your head. Then I've got some confetti to celebrate the joys of retirement. And then some seeds for all your dreams to grow. Have some chalk to chalk it up to a job well done. And then, pass these down there, please. Then we have some mints for a fresh look at retirement. Okay, and then the bath salt. I had a hard time finding the bath salt to take you away.
Let's keep it clean.
And then, I don't believe he said that. And then a Kit Kat because it is time to take a break. And then finally, a brand new penny. Give me that one, please. A brand new penny for your retirement fund. Congratulations, Diane. And I'm sorry, I couldn't go back to this. They were too hard to find. All right.
You done?
Top
Okay.
that.
Okay, Miss Smith, I'm not going to tell you my story about last night when I went to the store.
Thank you.
So I'm going to concentrate on my report, and I'm going to try to be brief after that. So glad you mentioned about PC Pacific Crest Performance Saturday, and I wasn't able to be there because I was not here. But just so that you know, I am a member of the board of Pacific Crest, so I'm very proud of what they do and what's coming up, because they're getting ready for their tour nationwide. So they're going to have a performance this Saturday at the Rose Bowl. That oh, you're not going to be here. So anyway, so I'm not either. So I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be there. So I'm going to miss this time. But we'll be able to see them sometime later. July 4th, they're going to be in the parade too. So that's one thing. So thank you for mentioning that. Again, thank you for the budget presentation. That was excellent presentation, excellent report. So I just want to stress that again. And then, Ms. Smith, I have my list of items here, but I'm only going to mention 2 tonight. Only 2, because I think these are important. On last Monday, I attended a retreat with Create California. Create California is an organization that was created out of the California Alliance for Arts Education. Create California is a coalition of dedicated and individual leaders who understand that together we have the power to create lasting change for every California student. Our mission is to ensure all students are able to reach their full potential by advancing an education model that promotes creativity and the arts for the 21st century workforce. So I've been a member of this organization for 3 years, and last Monday we had a retreat. And the reason I wanted to mention this is because on Monday we had a change in leadership, and Ann Brown Crawford now is the executive director of the California Alliance for Arts Education. She was the chair of this organization, and as of Monday she has left, and I became the chair as of last Monday.
Congratulations.
So I'm the second chair of that organization since it was created, and was the first one, the only one, I'm the second one. So I'm very honored to be in that position. It's a huge responsibility, but you know, we're there to continue promoting the arts in schools, not only here in Moreno Valley, but statewide. Mm-hmm. So I'm very proud of that. And then the other item I wanted to mention, the reason I wasn't there Saturday is because I was in New Orleans attending the National PTA Convention. And during the convention, I need to go back 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was appointed to the board of directors of the National PTA by the president then, Ms. Laura Bay. And somehow that was a little after the year I was the president of CSBA, and she found out about my work and some of the things that we were doing. So she appointed me to the board. 2 years ago, my term ended Saturday, June 23rd. So done with my 2 years, and I'm out of the board now. I still continue participating in a couple of committees and National PTA, but I'm no longer part of the board of directors. So I wanted to share that. It was a great experience, and we're trying to promote participation of the parents nationwide with PTA and advocating for certain things to benefit all the students in the nation. So I wanted to share that too. And the last thing I want to say is I don't have my confetti or anything like that, but I want to say thank you, Diane, for everything that you have done. You know, since the day I met you, you have been very helpful, very
supportive, and I appreciate all that work and all the times and all the hours and documents and everything else you did for me and for everybody else. So wish you the best in your retirement, and we'll never forget all those, all the work that you did. So thank you so much. Good luck. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your comments. I, too, would like to say how much I enjoyed the budget presentation, which is something you wouldn't associate the word enjoy with budget presentation. But I also like the way that the money is tied to our district goals. I think that's really important to tie together the LCAP and the budget process and the goals for the district. It's just really great the way you've done that. Glad that the Asterisk program is off to a great start and that we had our Asterisk person here tonight. So that's terrific, and I think we'll probably see a lot more of these students around the district and around the community working. It's a great job opportunity for our students, so I really appreciate everybody who's taken part in that. You mentioned the gym at the Moreno Valley High School. I was there earlier in the month for the senior awards. It's not just air conditioned. The whole gym has been redone. So it's been it's just really great to go there and see that great facility for those students, because it's not, you keep mentioning air conditioning, and that's great, but it's not, it's important here too. But they've also redone the floor, redone the whole gym. So it's really a great facility. So thank you to. What? Do the seats have your initials on?
No, not mine.
And the seats with CJ's. Thank you. And thank you to Sammer for all your work on that. I know how hard you worked to get that done. Diane, not only is your retirement, I heard it was your birthday yesterday too. So happy birthday, happy retirement. I hope the next half of your life is as good as the first half has been. So thank you. On to Dr. Kedziora.
Thank you. I wanted to clarify a few things that some of the speakers said tonight. One of the things that our district does is a use of facilities request, and churches can use our facilities because they're not part of our school district, and they're being used when our schools are not in session. So I just want people to know that we use that as a opportunity to make additional revenue, don't we, Tina? Yeah. And so when Tina is looking at all these fund balances, those are pieces of information that assist in helping our fund balance. And so we monitor who uses the buildings, and we make sure that they're using them as we expect them to. So I just wanted to make sure.
And we charge rent.
And we charge, yeah, we have a fee schedule. So I just want to make sure that.
Is that fee schedule available to anyone who would like to make that request?
Yes, it is. We have a person that is a facilities, what is she called? Facilities technician, use of facilities person, and that they could be reached and they can discuss what the fees are. And that's another thing. Thank you. We're required to let people use our facilities when we're not using them, and to make every opportunity available whenever possible. So that's isn't that a ed code or part of Civic Center Act? And so that's very important in the community, and just like we use. Little League football teams use our fields and things. The same is true of churches and other organizations. Many of them outside organizations use our facilities. So that's part of being a good neighbor and working together. The other thing I wanted to say was to thank you to Diane and to say to you how much we're going to miss you, and you to know how much you've meant to us publicly. Because you don't often get to hear that. You sit over there, you're real quiet, and you take roll, and you say, Mr. Bob, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Holguin, Miss Smith, and you do that. And so you just need to know that you'll be missed, and we thank you for everything you've done. And Debbie Faye, you're sitting out there, and you're going to be missed. Is your last day this Friday? And how long have you been here? 29 years. You're 27 years, 29 years. Look at all that history that's just going to be gone somewhere. So y'all are going to want to meet people somewhere so you can tell them the stories, so they know some of the stuff that's happened. Y'all got some good stuff probably. And then I want to tell people about Pacific Crest. This Saturday, 150 kids in our district get to go to the Rose Bowl. And I went last year with them, and Mr. Holguin went with them. This year, Mr. Holguin and Mr. Johnson can't go because they're going to be in Washington, D.C. Mountain View Middle School is going to be recognized at a national level for schools to watch, and they'll be meeting with their congressmen and U.S. senators who will recognize them for what they've contributed to middle level education. But this Saturday, 150 kids in our district are going to be at the Rose Bowl. And I have to tell you, many of these children would never get this opportunity this soon in their life if it wasn't for Pacific Crest. So I want to thank them because what they bring to our community. And I just want to say that I do want y'all to know this has been the best year with the LCAP that I've ever had. And I want to thank, again, Business Services and Educational Services for working so closely, because it hasn't always been that way. And I just want to say that you've been just very considerate of each other's thoughts and feelings and what needs to go into that document. 240 pages. You can imagine what can happen, you know. So I just want you to know how much that means to the district and the children.
The last Ed Services guy was difficult to live with.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess that's what changed. Yeah. I got out of the way. Yeah. Okay. But
they got it right away.
And I want to remind everybody that that is our 4th middle school to receive that national designation. And so we're very proud of Mountain View Middle School and what they are going to receive this Saturday. So I want you to know Mr. Johnson and Mr. Holguin are going to be there. I'm going to be there. It's quite an honor for these people that are coming from Mountain View Middle School and what they've accomplished there. And Debbie Faye, that's a real testament to your leadership there, because you were there for 10 years as principal, and that says a lot about what you contributed to the legacy of that school and how they're continuing to perform. So I just wanted to thank you, and thank you to the board for that support for that school.
Thank you. This has been a great meeting, and at 9:24 we are adjourned. Thank you.